Bounty of Blood ended up being a little bit of a miss for me. All the ingredients for success were here: new gameplay mechanics, new enemies, new vehicle type, a western themed story, and a looter shooter. So after the first two incredible DLC offerings, where did this one go wrong? Welcome to the Potato Backlog Project. I complete games for my 431 game backlog, earning $5 per completion to go towards the purchase of new and used games. Borderlands 3 Season 1 DLC pack was the second purchase under my new project rules. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video for the molecule manipulating Tater Raider, and let's get into it. Right out of the gate, Bounty for Blood has a different feel. The cinematic intro itself is longer than the previous DLCs. There's a narrator named the Liar who you hear over the cutscenes and also narrates parts of the live gameplay. The game works pretty hard out of the gate to set up the old western feel before you even touch the controls. The premise of the story is pretty simple. The town sheriff has a bounty out for the leader of a gang called the Devil Riders. The gang has been making trouble for the town of Vestige, and it's up to you to ride in and save the day. All of this is good. The story setup is good. The idea is great. The setting itself is great, but the execution of it all is handled poorly. And the blame mostly lies in the writing and pacing of the story beats themselves. On your way into town, you bump into a stranger named Rose. Things seemed weird with her right away. I actually have notes about how the voice acting for this character was weak and she seemed pretty off, but not in a suspicious way, in a way that totally pulled me out of the atmosphere the game had just worked so hard to create. You find out she can tame local creatures called devils, and she kind of puts you through your paces to see how you handle yourself in a fight, for reasons, I guess. She helps you make your way to town where you meet up with the sheriff, and then she just leaves. The sheriff informs you of all the goings on, the problems you're there to solve, and the stakes of it all. You learn about a giant rock in the middle of town. Riveting stuff. So quick little story spoilers warning here. Stop playing if you plan to play this DLC, go play it, and then come back right here to the video right here. Because boom! Very quickly you find out Rose is the main villain. Like really quickly. It ends up she's the leader of the Devil Rider gang that's been harassing the town. This reveal and the way it was executed was extremely unearned for me, and it made no sense. You have a character they call Rose the Butcher who should have either tried to kill you when she found out why you're on the planet, or at the very least tried to recruit you right away. There are just so many other strong ways they could have introduced Rose. The first character you should meet here is the sheriff's lackey Titus. This would have made more sense and helped build the tension they try to create after with another character named Juno. Juno is a former Devil Rider who the sheriff took in but is estranged from the rest of the town. You do meet Titus at the gate of the town, but if you put him where you meet Rose, there's more time to develop that story and information dump on the way into town. I won't go super deep into it, but it threw the entire thing off for me really early. It felt rushed and lazy to me. It's like a different team wrote Bounty of Blood. Luckily for us, the gameplay remains intact and it's as fun as ever. There are a couple new gameplay mechanics introduced in Bounty of Blood. There's a launch pad, an explosive rock type material called Core Sploder, and a plant called Trader Weed that can make an enemy a temporary ally. Like the story, these were good ideas, but not implemented to their full potential. The launch pads were good, the extra mobility was fun, and it helped keep exploring and fighting exciting. I thought the Core Sploder was also a good idea, but they just missed with it a bit. You have to unlock the ability to melee it. They use it for some environmental destruction, but the things it can destroy are highlighted in bright red, so there's not much there to figure out for you or what to really do with it. You just walk up and hit the button. I was hoping it would have been implemented in more interesting ways. The Trader Weed, as it's called, was kind of strange. You meet an interesting old wizard lady who seems to have an underground weed farm. You help her with some chores, which activates these plants. You then gain the ability to melee or shoot them, which sends out a ball of light, which temporarily turns enemies into allies. I found this to be more of a novelty than a useful mechanic in the game. The AI when they become an ally is pretty weak overall, and in the hectic action you usually just end up shooting and killing them anyways, so it's kind of throwaway stuff. The real bummer here was the crazy old wizard lady never returning to the main story. I felt like there was more to her story, and it just kind of stacked up onto another missed opportunity. I did enjoy the new vehicle, the Jet Beast. They were referred to almost like horses by the characters. The machine gun was pretty great, and it was pretty fun to just bomb around and explore in them. I did think for absolute sure that when you met Rose early on in the game, it was setting you up to be able to tame and ride the devil creatures themselves. Rose goes on and on about it and then shows you this crazy whistle and then nothing. That for me would have been the strongest thing they could have done to sell the Western theme and feel, and then it would have made sense for them to have Rose be the first character you meet. The visual design and look of Bounty of Blood are pretty great. The East meets West look and overall atmosphere, the areas works really well. The maps are once again generously large, and it was fun to explore and find some of the secrets, side missions, and fun battles to be had. Overall playtime here felt shorter than the first two DLCs. Before I knew it, I was fighting the final boss and the story was over. The ending itself left a lot to be desired, and I didn't get any satisfaction or feeling of finality with the conclusion of the story. 3 happy potato faces out of 5. A ton of great ideas here, but the weak writing and execution of everything together as a package left a lot to be desired. Maybe the strength of the first 2 DLC offerings left my expectations a little too high. This isn't horrible by any means, but when you see what they are capable of beforehand, you kind of hold everything else up to a different standard. And I think that's fair. Thank you for watching. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. We're on to the last one. Bounty of Blood was a little bit of a miss, Murph. I complete games from but the execution. If Rose was left out, you can but when you see what they're capable of but when you